Hey guys, so on this, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to close more deals in 2022. This is a process that I've refined after closing hundreds of accounts, and then I think as a total with Twiz LLC, the company that I own, I think we've definitely crossed over the 1,000 mark in terms of accounts now. I mean, we've been around for 5 years now, almost. Coming up in March 2023, it'll be 5 years. So we've been around for a long time. And so we've closed a lot of deals. And the reason I want to show you guys this script that we're using right now to close more deals for our software is because it's fully transparent. Like, I don't have a lot of smoke and mirrors with this pitch. It's not salesy. It's very structured. But really, at the end of the day, we're just trying to give a lot of value. We're not trying to have a lot of gotchas. We're not trying to do like bait and switch or anything like that. We're just trying to give value, be as transparent as possible. And we've found that the more transparent we can be, the more helpful we can be, the more sales we get. It's very simple, right? Because at the end of the day, no matter what you try to do to someone or try to convince them to want to work with you or whatever, if your offer sucks, then they're not going to want to work with you anyways, right? So this is just something very important to keep in mind as you're thinking of scaling your business. Let me start off by sharing this and showing you guys kind of what I'm thinking about here. So if you are an Agency Go member, you can jump in to the software. We got a lot of training materials inside sales here on improving your closing. If you're not a Agency Go member, I have the script here. You can follow along with me. We can go kind of step by step through the script so that way you guys can see all the different closing strategies, tactics, etc. to get more deals closed. And this applies to selling software, it applies to selling services. It doesn't matter, right? I've closed millions of dollars in sales at this point, and it really does not matter like what you're actually selling. It all follows the exact same formula, right? So the first thing is that this is my first tip I generally leave for people. You really want to keep the demo call short. Now, why is that? And this is both for the marketing agency and for the software, even though the software tends to be more of a one-call close because it's very straightforward, really just conveying an information to them. I mean, they're usually already sold before they hop into the software. But for the marketing services, we also try to keep it pretty short. And the reason for that is because no matter how much information somebody gives you before the call, you don't really know what their qualifications are. And sometimes the most nondescript people who completely seem like they would not be a good fit to work with us actually are really good fits to work together. So you just never really know. So we try to keep them very short so that way you don't really spend too much time on somebody. The other thing is that, what you want to do is you want to focus on having your reps understand, and this is tip number 2, that no matter what happens, ultimately, there's going to be questions they don't know. There's going to be things that they don't understand, and that's totally fine. Really, what you want to be there for is to be a backup solution if you need to come in and actually help them. So you're not trying to make sure that they're experts in everything. That's a big misconception. The salesperson is really like a relaying facts. They're relaying what they know about the software, what they know about the service. They should be experts. That definitely does help, and we definitely try to recruit people for sales that we know are experts in this field. But they don't need to know everything, and they're not going to know everything because the product changes all the time, the service changes all the time. So many things change constantly that it's really impossible to know for sure. So this is step 1, part 1 essentially. And the first thing really is establishing trust and authority. You hear this all the time. This is a very common thing in business. And the first thing we try to do, and I'll show you guys this. This is my website, twiz.io. This is the one we actually recently redesigned. And, it's a good looking website. And I think the biggest thing, the reason we spent so much time, we spent over a year designing this website before rolling out, is to make it nice, make it clean, make it really cool. Our previous website looked decent, but it wasn't anything to go, I say, write home about. This new one definitely looks a lot cooler. This one looks more like a marketing agency. So what we do is in that first section is we try to tell our story. Another way to say this could be establish trust and authority, or you could just say tell your story. And then what that basically means is you want to tell the full story of your business in a nutshell. So it's like kind of like the elevator pitch, I guess you could say. So you could see this is my elevator pitch I make everybody say, which is we started this after our CEO Lucas built Twiz to $1.72 million in revenue last year in annual revenue. Most of this revenue comes from agency partners and referrals, which is true. We want to replicate that same success for the agencies, which is why we built Agency Go. Lucas still runs Twiz as well as Agency Go. So he's giving you all the tips and tricks that he learns as he scales a multi-million-dollar agency, right? All this is true. But if they didn't know the story, then everything else seems pretty weak. That's the thing. You have to have something that's a good story, and then people are actually going to want to talk to you, and they're going to want to hear from you. They want to learn from you, right? It's all very important. So you give them that, they get excited about it. You want to kind of gauge their excitement level. Maybe you have to fill them in with some more details to get them even more excited, something like that. Once you've got them excited, then you move to part 2. And this is one thing that we do. So we have 2 different types of meetings that people take with us. Let me pull this up. We have an audit call and we have a partnership call. The partnership call is because I'm always looking for new partners, because we have 200 pages in our website, and we're going to have 20,000 pages in our website very soon. And they're all targeting different keywords and different landing pages and things like that. And we simply just can't do every service for everyone. It's impossible, right? So we need people to help with fulfillment, just like Amazon has fulfillment. So it is true. We are constantly looking for partners. A lot of those people who take partnership calls with us also happen to buy the software. They also end up partnering with us in other ways. So that's one call. The other kind of call is the free agency audit. This is basically just to go through how to teach people, how to help people grow their agency, all sorts of stuff. The thing about this is it's a kind of a different going into this section, part 2, depending on what meeting they take. If they're a partner, they're not really looking for help, because a lot of times they're already scaled, right? And you can kind of sense that on the call if there's someone that's scaled up. But if they aren't somebody that's scaled up, right, and they're looking for help and guidance, then what we typically do is we just dive into question asking. We basically say, what's your biggest struggle with the agency? We deduce what the biggest struggle or pain points are. And this is something you could take away from every single business. I've worked with like billion-dollar companies. It's the same thing. Everyone has the same problems typically. But if it's a unique problem, write down the most common problems. And then this is a huge growth hack that I started doing. I have 3 different outcomes based on what somebody says. If it's a mix of both, you just give them both options. But basically, if somebody says, I need more leads, then what you say is, oh, cool, I have all these free resources to give you to help you with more leads. Now, what does this do? It means that your salespeople don't have to become experts in all these things, because they're just sharing information, right? So you could say, oh, cool, yeah, go to YouTube. This is a video that should help you, because most likely they have not watched all of these things. It is almost certainly the case that they have not watched all of these videos. Same with the duplication ones, same as the partnership ones. Almost certainly. Unless they're like your number one fanatic, they haven't. So what you can do is you can just share all this stuff, and you can just say, hey, this would be good. And then they can, as they take more free audit calls, and let's say you're closing this deal that you're on, you can give a lot more guidance, right? But the idea is that you share some sort of authority or trust or insight into how they can grow their business. So many people get this wrong. Because they think of it like, okay, I'm an agency owner, or I'm some sort of technical solution provider. I'm not here to help them grow their business. I'm here to provide a very specific solution. At the end of the day, everything for a business owner, which is predominantly who you're selling if it's a B2B product, wants to know how to grow their business. So if you could tie everything back to how they can grow their business, you're going to have it's so much easier to grow if you can tie it back to how to grow their business. So much easier. So focus on that. Focus on that. Very important. I've also noticed too that if you give them something to savor at the end of the call, you're going to get a higher probability that they hop on the next call with you. So something you can do is you can say, hey, great, this has been so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing with me what your biggest pain points are. I'm going to put together something custom that we can review on the next call. Now, this is big for anything that's like over $3,000 a month or $5,000 a month or something like that. It's a big sale, or even just really any marketing service, I guess. You want to focus on kind of creating something custom, because then you can keep the conversation going, which is very important when you're trying to close someone on something big. You don't want them to hop on the call and leave. You need to get them to another call. And to do that, you need to have something that's bait to get to the next call. Creating something custom to get them to another call is important. I do this inside of our software calls, which are really just one call closes for the most part, because if there is a reason why someone doesn't want to close on the phone, like let's say they need to talk to their partner or something like that, you hear that all the time, then you have some bait to get them on another call, right? Super simple. And it's giving value, so it's not even like sales tactic-y or anything like that. Now, the third thing, and I'm not going to go through the entire thing because this is more of like the sales pitch part of Agency Go, but the big thing is that this is where you go through the walkthrough. Now, the walkthrough is important, and this is a very important thing that I tell my sales reps. I always tell them, hey, instead of saying, don't just ever dive into the pitch. This is something everyone gets wrong. Everyone gets wrong when they're first trying to close. They jump right into the pitch. That is so dumb, and I'm not even saying that to be mean. I did it too all the time. I did the same thing when I first started. You don't want to jump in the pitch. You see how the beginning was establishing the story and the trust, and then the second one is about, the help you could provide, giving them value. Those are so critical before you jump at the pitch. So critical. And even here in the part one about establishing trust and authority, the important thing here is, you know how I say this? Have you had a chance to learn more about our companies, or should I share more of it now, right? Have you ever been to a party and someone just starts talking and talking and talking about themselves, and you're like, why is this person talking about themselves? Like, tell them to shut up. It's not funny. Or they're not cool, or they're not fun to hang out with, whatever. They just start talking, right? You're not having a conversation when someone is just talking at you. So you need to be able to have pauses, and you need to be able to say, hey, how much do you know about us, right? I don't want to reiterate something you already know. If somebody's already been on our website and been on Agency Go's website and all this stuff, I'm not going to just reiterate everything to them. I want to actually see if they know anything about me. I need some context before I jump into my story. And then the thing is, if they say, like, if they just hear a canned script and it's not customized to their specific understanding of how much they currently know about your business, they're going to think it's canned and they're not going to want to work with you, right? So don't give them that. Give them something custom. Then what you want to do is, once you've gotten to step 3, basically, and this applies to every close, so critical, ask them, would you like to see how this works? Because then you're getting their buy-in. You're basically getting them to tell you, yes, I want to see how this thing works. I want to understand how it works. And then you can jump into the rest of the pitch. And then this part is really on your own. You could do a slideshow. You could do like literally anything you want to do. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you have something that you can show them that is consistent for everyone. So here with Agency Go, we share different parts of the software. They basically follow the same script. They highlight different things, and it's consistent. The pitch is consistent. And you are the maestro of this deal when you're trying to scale sales reps. You need to have a consistent process that's replicatable, that they can jump in and say over and over and over and over and over and over again. So critical, right? So get the pitch right yourself. If you have, the cool thing about software is it kind of sells itself. Like, you could just show your screen. If I just go here, I can just go to the different parts of the software and it kind of sells itself. Like, I don't need to really have really beautiful graphics or anything like that. As long as the website is nice, and as long as, like the Agency Go website, I think is pretty nice. As long as it's nice, you don't need to like really sell it. It's going to sell itself. It's fine, right? So I think the big thing is just having something consistent that doesn't change. And the beautiful thing about software, just like a slideshow, right? If you have like a demo slideshow or something, or a PDF you go through, whatever, is that it's consistent. It's not changing. It's not subject to the whims of your sales rep, who might say something completely wrong or might completely forget something that they were supposed to say, right? So you need to have something consistent. Now, the last part, and this is critical, a lot of people forget this. Or not maybe forget this, but they just kind of like botch this part. So you are on a fact-finding mission at the end of the call. You are not on a twisting their arm mission to try to convince them to work with you. That's just a bunch of bullcrap. Don't try to force people to work with you. That's the biggest turnoff ever. Be a doctor. Try not to be a salesperson, right? And I just had a situation today. There's somebody who is like teetering on the edge of buying our membership. And I was like, look, you need this. Like, it's so helpful for you. It wasn't twisting their arm because I genuinely just wanted them to do it. It's the same thing as if a doctor really wanted you to take diabetes medicine because you needed it, right? It's because it's essential. It's critical, like they really want to help you. So do not be an arm twister for commission or for the sale. It's okay to push somebody as long as they don't say no, because obviously you want to be respectful. But if somebody's like teetering on the edge or something, it's okay to push them. That's something you have to learn. It's okay to be adamant. You could be like, look, you need this thing. It's so cool. That's okay. But you have to be genuine in your approach. It has to be the coolest thing to you ever that you're willing to talk to the people about it, right? So the questions part is not to uncover their objections and overcome them like you're some scammy watch salesman or something. It's to uncover any facts that they're missing that is preventing them from closing the deal or from working with you. Because typically it's the things that they just do not know about what you do that is the gaps. That's what's missing, right? So for instance, if for some reason somebody thinks, oh, I want to do this, but like, I don't know if I have time. that's something I get from time to time. People do think that. And I have some of these objections here, right? I want to sign up, but I need to ask my partner first. I don't have a website or my agency yet. So I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm part of a lot of other groups right now, so I don't think I have time. I don't think this group is right for me. These are some common objections. And you're really just continuing to ask questions until they tell you no. Because just because someone says, I don't think this is right for me, they haven't said no. They just said, I don't think this is right. And you have the permission typically to ask them another question. And you could say, oh, curious, why is that? Because you don't know. They didn't tell you why. They just said, I don't think it's right for you. And you're like, okay, well, why is that? And once they tell you, then you just keep asking questions until you get to the source. And usually it's because of some fact that they have completely inaccurate about what you have. Because statistically, if a lot of other people want what you have, then it must be good, So for instance, this is one of my favorite ones, which is, I don't think I'm ready for this. A lot of the time people get overwhelmed with the amount of intros we're making. They're like, oh my God, this is so many intros. I'm so busy right now. I can't handle any more referrals or any meetings with other agencies. It's just so much work. And that's understandable. But what we say is, hey, no worries. You can turn this thing off at any point in time. Like they could just go into settings and literally turn off the software at any point in time just by clicking disabled. And then they could turn it back on anytime and they still keep their membership. They still get access to the Slack group, everything. But the thing is that they still get it. It doesn't matter, right? But they didn't know that because they don't know that about the product. And so it's a factual thing. It's not that they don't want it. It's just they didn't have the right fact to make sure that they could do it. And so obviously then you give him like the goods and you say, hey, here's how to sign up, all that stuff. If you have a really good de-risking element, this is the subject of a completely different video in terms of how to craft an offer and stuff, which I'll probably make here pretty soon. But the biggest thing is really just lead the horse to water. Just get them to close really quickly. I typically try to send them 3 different reminders, one inside the Zoom, one inside email, and also part of a sequence to get them to close. That's all boilerplate basic stuff. But really at the end of the day, you're trying to find facts and you're trying to give them the facts. You're trying to find misunderstandings. You're trying to give them the facts. That's all you're trying to do here. Nothing scammy, nothing salesy. That's it, right? And then you're just trying to lead the horse to water. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it as seamless and easy as possible for this person to sign up. Just seamless and easy. It needs to be like, oh my God, this is incredible. I cannot believe how easy this is to sign up. I cannot believe something like this doesn't exist. Like these are the things you want to hear your people saying when they're on the end of these calls. And then what you want to do, this is the last thing, and this is really like I consider to be sort of a classy way to sell. Don't just take their money and run, right? If they close, what you want to do is, and by the way, before I jump into this part, an important thing to think about is if somebody says, okay, yeah, I'm ready to sign up, send them the link and say, cool, once you sign up, I'll confirm that you got it. That way you can actually get them to pay on the phone because that does happen a lot, especially for lower ticket stuff. That happens like, I would say 1 out of every 8 times for us right now, right? They actually just pay on the call, which is super cool. Anyways, that's my aside. But here, to be a classy salesperson, give them the next steps. If they say they want to move forward, say, okay, cool. For us, it's pretty simple. You'll immediately start getting introductions to people and you will be added to our Slack group and you'll be immediately entered as a member. You'll be part of our membership, right? Very simple. A lot of people will just take the money and run. That's not cool. If you even need to just have like a conversation with them, that could be a great way to end it as well. But just be natural, be nice, be cool. Like don't be weird, right? Just be a cool person. If you're a cool person and you're like a fun person, people are gonna want to keep working with you. That's just the way it's gonna be, right? And you just gotta make it light, make it casual. Don't try to force them. Don't try to be weird. Don't try to be like dodgy salesperson who just got paid and leaves, right? And on a nice note, and then move to the basically like, here's the next thing, jump into this, right? So that's essentially it. And I hope that this has been helpful for you guys in terms of understanding how to close deals in 2022. I know it can be a bit of a process. I know it can be difficult, but this has served me well over time. It really has helped me out. And if you like this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna be creating more content just like this on how to grow your agency to a multi-million-dollar agency or build, I actually just cracked a $1 million valuation on our software. So how to build $1 million software in less than 6 months, bootstrap without any VC funding, and to code it yourself completely without any other software developers. That's what we did. I was able to build it myself. So we've got a great team, but only software developers. So if you're interested in that, that's definitely something you can do too. Please feel free to comment below if you guys have any questions on how to close more deals, how to grow your agency, all sorts of stuff. I'm here to help you. All right, peace.